Hey everyone, what is going on? So we have more battles for you today that I did on stream in the Electric Cup. So whenever I pull my stream content and upload it, usually the quality is not as good because I just pull it from the stream, so just quality's not as good. So I do apologize for that, but we can still see what's going on. It's not that bad, right? But either way, I had back-to-back 4-1s with this team, so really strong, a really powerful team as well. So the team is going to be Garvantula in the lead with Fury Cutter and then Lantern in the back, as well as MINUN in the back, and MINUN actually doing pretty well. So yeah, let's go ahead and dive right into these battles and see what we got going on for us, see how I did. As I mentioned, I did go 4-1, but we'll see how the battles go. We're going to be hit with an Energy Ball. That will be enough to KO my Lantern, but that's totally fine. I could bring in my Garvantula now. So I'm going to go ahead and do just that. Now, a Wild Charge will do a lot, or an Energy Ball, even though we resist those attacks. But still not going to be enough to KO me, and in comes the Golem. So I did anticipate the double Rock Boys because, of course, we know that Home Slice Henry ran that team. So basically what I wanted to do was debuff the Golem and then switch into my MINUN, which is exactly what we're going to do. So I'm going to be able to throw this Grass Knot right now. That will pick up the final shield. And then I just need to get to another one. Now keep in mind the Golem is debuffed. We do have 2 shields, so we're looking pretty good here. I'm going to go ahead and shield with my MINUN. It's going to be a Rock Blast. As expected, I could survive it, but you know what? Might as well shield. I knew this was going to be another Rock Blast. I knew this wasn't the Stone Edge, so I'm going to go ahead and let this one go and go for my Grass Knot right now, and this will be enough to KO this Alolan Golem as it is, and in comes the Electrode. So basically all I need to do is get to an attack and I'm going to be able to get to the Discharge. This is going to KO even though it is double resisted, and that is going to be a good game. Very well played to my opponent there. So GG's. Yeah, the team did really well for me. So we're moving on. It's going to be Garvantula into Lantern. Okay, not too bad. Now, you could bait, you could go straight Energy Ball. I'm going to be honest with you. I think all but once, you know, my opponents did call the bait. They didn't shield. Like in this case, my opponent is not going to go ahead and shield, so the Energy Ball would be great there, but it could go either way, right? Your opponent could shield, so you could go straight Energy Ball if you want. You could go the Lunge bait. In comes Garvantula. I'm going to go ahead and throw the bait. They actually throw an attack, so this is just going to be a Crush Chop. Oh, not a Crush Chop, a Crush Poison. It's not going to KO. It almost KOs, but it's not going to KO. It did a little bit more than I thought. So I'm going to be able to debuff my opponent, and they do go ahead and shield, and then I bring in my Lantern. Because they threw the Crush Poison, that tells me they don't have Energy Ball, right? Because most of the time I would assume that they're always going to run Lunge. But no, we're hit with an Energy Ball. I was actually really shocked. So no Lunge on that Garvantula. It's actually going to be Energy Ball and Cross Poison. So definitely took me by surprise. But in comes a Hisuian Electrode. So of course, this is kind of a tough matchup, but we just want to do as much damage as possible, right? And the damage is adding up. Look at my, well, it's below 50% health already. So my opponent is going to go ahead and throw an attack. This is going to be enough to KO my Lantern, but Lantern certainly did its job. Easily KOs me. So what do I bring in? Definitely going to be that MINUN for sure. Quick Attack is really strong. I try to catch. Unfortunately, I'm not successful. So I give them more farm, which is not great. But that is okay. I'm going to go ahead and shield, expecting the Energy Ball. I don't think they'll want to debuff themselves. So we do correctly shield that Energy Ball. So I'm going to go ahead and get off this Discharge right now, which should be enough to pick up the knockout, even though it is double resisted. And we do see that shield. So my opponent is going to go ahead and throw the shield, throw the attack right now. And I'm thinking, well, I wonder if I could farm down now, but my opponent actually brings in the Lantern. So basically what I have to do here is I do have to throw the Energy Ball to KO, and then I have to hope that I could farm down the Electrode before they get to another attack. Now I did lose count. I wasn't sure where they were in terms of energy, but I am able to farm down and take that win. And that is going to be a great game. Very well played to my opponent. Let's move on to the next one. Garvantula into Graveler. So really bad matchup for me. I'm actually surprised I don't see more Alolan Graveler or Alolan Golem or even Alolan Geodude leads, just because there's so many Garvantula leads. Right. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this Discharge. This is rough because Garvantula resists both my moves, but we do get a shield. So we'll take that shield. My opponent is going to go ahead and throw an attack right now. It's going to be a Lunge. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to be able to flip this matchup, unfortunately. They're just going to go ahead and throw another attack. And I'm just going to let this go. We'll take the shield advantage. And they do get the attack boost with that Cross Poison, which is unfortunate for me. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in my Garvantula. My opponent will be able to win CMP. So because of that attack boost, I am going to go ahead and shield this one up. And I'm going to be able to throw a Lunge. So really, really scary stuff for me, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see what's in the back. It's going to be Hisui Electro. So kind of hard counted for my opponent. Not much we could do there, so we're going to back out. Good game to my opponent there. Moving on, Garvantula into Electro. Definitely where you want to see the Hisui and Electro. We do love this lead here. My opponent will switch in. So because they switched into the Alolan Graveler, I'm calling the team again by Home Slice Henry, the Double Rock Boys. It may or may not be, but that's what I'm calling. So I'm just going to go ahead and throw the Surf. We want to get rid of it. In comes the Electrode. Just get as much damage onto this Electrode as possible. Again, I am calling that it's going to be a Golem in the back. So, yeah, we just want to get as much damage as possible. Going to go ahead and let this Lantern go. No reason to save it. It's going to be an energy ball that KOs it. That's totally fine. I'm going to go ahead and bring in this this Garvantula. Yep, Garvantula. And I'm going to go ahead and take this Wild Charge. I do expect to switch, and it is going to be Golem. So what I want to do is throw the Lunge before switching out to debuff the Golem, so Minun has a better matchup, and my opponent actually shields, which is really good for me because now they are down a shield. So I'm going to go ahead and shield this. I knew it was going to be a Rock Blast, but I'm still going to go ahead and shield it. A little bit nervous, I guess, that's why. So now I'm going to go ahead and throw this attack into this Golem right now. This will be enough to KO, but my opponent will go ahead and shield that. We need to get to one more. I do go ahead and shield this again. I know it's going to be a Rock Blast, but we're going to go ahead and shield just to take precaution. I'm going to go ahead and throw this. I could have farmed up a little bit more, but I didn't want to risk my opponent's switch timer coming up, so I just go ahead and throw it. And now comes the Electrode, and I'm going to go ahead and throw the Grass Knot right now. And this is going to KO the Hisui and Electrode, and that's how you battle against the Double Rock Boys. I feel like that's... We beat it a couple times already. I feel like it's the best way to play against that team. But good game, well played to my opponent. Great team as well, of course. Garvantula into Garvantula. So against the Garvantula mirror match, usually I see... I check to who wins CMP, right? I do throw the Lunge immediately, and we'll see who wins CMP. And in this case, it's my opponent. I do have a low attack, so a lot of times I do lose CMP. But it all depends. I don't have the rank 1 or anything. So if my opponent has the rank 1 or a lower attack... you know, they could lose CMP. It all depends. So we're going to go ahead and shield this one up. I'm going to take it to the 2 shields, force 2 shields from my opponent. And then, because I know I lose CMP, I'm going to try to catch a Lunge, a double debuffed Lunge on my Lantern. That's usually how I play this matchup. And we switch out, but my opponent actually switches as well. They anticipated me trying to catch, I guess. And they have a Minun, so is it the same team? Who knows? But we're going to go ahead and throw this Surf. I'm going to go ahead and throw it. And my opponent will go ahead and throw this Grass Knot right now. I assume it's going to be a Grass Knot, as it is. We're going to be able to tank it. It still does a lot, though, but I'm going to be able to farm down. Very nice. So let's see what comes in. Is it going to be that Garvantula? Is it going to be something else? We'll have to see. It's going to be a Lantern, so I don't throw the Surf right away. That's why I didn't throw the Surf right away, just in case they wanted to bring in like a Lantern. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this Thunderbolt. Very nice. My opponent will be able to farm down, but no, I switch into my Garvantula and throw the Lunge right now. I didn't want to go for... the Grass Knot because I wasn't at it, and I thought they would try and switch out into their Garvantula, so I wanted to get some damage into the Lantern before they were able to do that. So I can bring in the Minun right now. We want a quick attack down this Garvantula. Unfortunately, they are able to get to an attack, so I'm going to go ahead and let this go. Not that I have a choice, and they go for the Energy Ball, and I do farm down. And who wins CMP? Looks like it's going to be Minun. We're going to be able to take this game, and that is going to be a great game. Very well played to my opponent. But yeah, that is going to KO. Minun's been proven to be really, really solid for this meta. I mean, it's pretty bulky, right, for this meta. Let's move on. Garvantula Mia match. So again, we'll check to see who wins CMP. Is it going to be me? Is it going to be my opponent? I guess we'll find out. And it's going to be me, so that's good to know. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this Lunge, expecting the shield. My opponent will go ahead and shield, and I'm going to go ahead and shield this as well. And it is going to be a Lunge, of course. So I'm going to try to get to another Lunge, and I'm going to be able to get to it, of course, because we do win CP. Unless if they have a Cross Poison, they can throw the Cross Poison, of course. Then they'll be able to beat us to the next Lunge, right? If they throw the Cross Poison, if they have it. So I'm going to go ahead and shield, but it's going to be a Lunge. So I do have to keep in mind my opponent might try and catch So I'm actually going to do jet that as well. I'm going to switch at the same time because I did anticipate the catch, right? And they actually bring in that Graveler, so this is really good for my Lantern. So I'm going to go ahead and throw the Surf. On the off chance my opponent did throw the Lunge and didn't try to catch, we would have taken a double resisted Lunge. Or not double resisted, double debuffed Lunge on my Lantern. So my opponent is going to go ahead and bring in their own Lantern. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this Thunderbolt, not Lunge, into the Lantern. My opponent will be able to do the same. Totally fine. We could take this. It's gonna get us low. I think my opponent can farm us down. Yeah, they are able to farm us down. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring in my MINUN right now. My opponent will go ahead and throw an attack. It's gonna be a Surf. There we go. Totally fine. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in the Garantula after we take that Surf, and I do see their switch, so I'm going to go ahead and throw the Lunge immediately just to KO. And my opponent wants to farm down, but they're not going to be able to because I do get to a Lunge, and this is going to be enough to KO, and that is going to be a great game. Very well played to my opponent, and we're going to be able to take that one. Absolutely amazing. GG's. Let's go ahead and move into the next battle. We do have Garantula, and we do have a Garantula, so again, playing it the same way. See who wins CMP. We're going to try to get to the Lunge, and we do click on it, and we do win CMP here, so good to know. So I'm going to go ahead and throw the Lunge right now, and my opponent will go ahead and shield as expected. I'm going to go ahead and shield as well, and it's going to be a Lunge. Totally fine, as expected. So trying to get to another Lunge, and again, I'm going to be able to get to it. Will my opponent shield this? Will they let this one go? This is debuffed. They do shield it. So I'm going to go ahead and shield this one as well. And it's going to be a cross poison, so beautiful bait. So now they're going to be able to outpace me. So I'm going to go ahead and try and catch, and we are able to catch on this Lunge attack. So it is going to be a Lunge, and they are double debuffed, so I'm going to be able to take it really well. And we do lure out the Hisuian Electrode, which is kind of what we want to lure out. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this Surf right now. This Surf, just chip damage, right? Lantern obviously loses this matchup, but we're still doing some decent damage to that Electrode. My opponent is going to go ahead and throw an attack. It's going to be an Energy Ball, going to be enough to KO. I'm going to bring in Galvantula. I'm going to go ahead and throw this Lunge as soon as we get to it. And I do get to it pretty fast, and the Lunge is going to be enough to connect. Or not, of course it's going to connect, be enough to KO. I don't know, I was kind of nervous I don't think I could have made it to the Energy Ball. So I'm going to go ahead and throw the Lunge right now, and then switch out into MINUN. My opponent is going to go ahead and switch into Galvantula. But because they're kind of energy dry, I'm going to be able to throw this attack. And that will be enough to KO. And now comes Lantern. Lantern will be able to throw a Surf attack, but I'm going to be able to take it just fine. Yeah, it's totally fine, and my opponent will concede that. That's going to be a great game, very well played to my opponent. We're moving on to the next one, Galvantula into Togedemaru. Okay. Togedemaru is actually decent in this meta. It's not that bad. It really isn't. It's a Steel type resisting these Fury Cut attacks, of course, resisting Lunge and Energy Ball. So it's actually not bad. My opponent, but I also resist the electric attacks. I don't resist Fell Stinger though, so my opponent will be able to hit me with a Fell Stinger. I know it has Fell Stinger. I know it has Wild Charge, right? But the damage is not that bad into that Togedemaru, right? So I'm gonna be able to try and catch an attack, and we do catch an attack. Hoping another Fell Sting. It's actually a Wild Charge though, so it does do a lot to me. So a little bit scary there. But it's okay. My opponent is going to be able to throw the attack. I guess I'm just sacrificing this Lantern. So I'm going to let it go. It's going to be a Lunge that will be enough to KO me. I'm going to bring in my Galvantula and throw my Lunge immediately just to debuff the Fury Cutters, right? We want to debuff it as much as possible. But my opponent actually going to go ahead and shield it. So that's totally fine. My opponent will go ahead and throw an attack. I'm going to go ahead and shield it, expecting the Lunge right now, right? And it is Lunge. I'm going to go ahead and throw this Lunge right now at my opponent. Do they want to shield? They do not want to shield. They go down. Very nice. So what is going to come in? I'm trying to switch out right away because I am debuffed, and I do switch out right away. It's going to be, a Lux Ray. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and throw this attack right now into the Lux Ray. And my opponent is not going to shield that. I was actually debating baiting there because I thought they were going to shield. Luckily for me, I did not bait. So I'm going to go ahead and let this go. Call the Psychic Fangs, and is the Psychic Fangs. In comes Togedemaru. Togedemaru will be able to throw an attack A Fell Sting is not going to KO, so I'm going to let it go, and it's a Fell Sting, and I do get off a discharge attack. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I do get off this discharge. My opponent is going to go ahead and shield. Trying to get to another one. They do throw the attack before I'm able to get to the other one, but because they threw the attack, I'm just going to let it go. And I'm going to go ahead and bring in this Galvantula. I do go ahead and farm down, and in comes Luxray, and I'm able to farm down. Crazy game. Back and forth. Looked a little bit scary, but we're able to take that one. Good game. Moving on, Galvantula into Graveler. Definitely a bad matchup. So we're going to go ahead and pull the switch here. My opponent will go ahead and switch into Galvantula. So again, just going to go ahead and throw this discharge. Throw the discharge attacks. And my opponent will let that go. It doesn't do much, but what else can we do? My opponent is going to go ahead and throw this attack right now. Going to be a lunge. Totally fine. We do get off another one. Will they shield? If they don't shield, we can get it in the farm down range. Well, we'll have to shield, but we can quick attack down. But we do have to shield this because we do have to win switch, because we cannot have a lowland Graveler on my Galvantula, right? At least not at that health. I mean, obviously we had the energy ball ready and they had no shields we could, but that is not the case. In comes Graveler. I'm going to be able to throw this this attack, this Grass Knot, very nice, and my opponent is not going to shield it. We are debuffed, so it's not going to do as much as you would really like. In comes Lantern right now, so what I'm going to do is throw the Thunderbolt, wait for them to throw an attack, and then switch out, I think. I think that's my game plan here, so I'm going to go ahead and throw the Thunderbolt. My opponent is going to fire eventually. They do fire an attack, and I'm going to be able to take this one. Going to be a Thunderbolt as expected. Now I'm going to go ahead and switch out. And my opponent will be able to throw a Surf attack. I do let this one go. And yep, going to be a Surf. Makes sense. I'm going to go ahead and throw the Lunge. I don't anticipate the shield. I don't know if they're going to shield, but if they do shield, they do actually shield. And they switch out to snipe me. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in my Lantern. I know this is a Rock Blast, but they left it with an attack, right? And they still have a shield, so definitely tough. But yeah, they have an attack. So good game to my opponent. Very well played to them, yeah. So the 2 games we lost, we still have more battles, but the 2 games we lost, I did say I won 8-2. Back-to-back 4-1s. We're both lowland Graveler leads, which is definitely a tough lead. So keep that in mind. We have another Galvantula is so common in the lead. It's common in this meta. So they're throwing before we even reach a lunge. I know this is going to be a cross poison. I'm just going to let it go. Could have, in theory, shielded that because obviously the next one wouldn't do as much. But I'm going to go ahead and throw my lunge. My opponent will go ahead and shield, and they switch into Lantern. I'm seeing if I can get to the energy ball. I could barely make it to the energy ball. I was tempted to click on that lunge, but no, we're able to barely make it. My opponent will not shield that one. They are down a shield, which is good for me. I'm going to bring in my MINUN to try and get as much farm as possible. And so I think what I do is I do farm down, but I think I shield the next attack because the next attack will get us very low. So I am going to go ahead and shield, and we're going to have a lot of energy, which is good for me. I'm going to have a lot of energy on my MINUN, but we'll see what comes in. It's going to be that Galvantula, which makes sense, but 2 discharge attacks should be enough to pick up the knockout, so I'm going to be able to throw this discharge close to picking up the knockout. This one might KO. We'll see. It's going to be very close. I think they do let this one go. I don't think my opponent shields it. Yeah, they do let it go, and it does KO. In comes Graveler, and at this point, I knew this was going to be a win because I'm able to get to this Grass Knot attack. We do have that Lantern in the back. I do have it. I always say we. I don't know why. You guys know that. And my opponent will concede that game, and that is going to be a great game. Very well played to my opponent. Was that the last battle? It was the last battle. Great sets. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Have a good day. Bye.